On tonight's episode of the Melanin Mindset, we're going to be talking about forgiveness. You do not want to miss this one. So kick back, relax, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notification bells. Let's get into it, fam.
Good evening. How's everyone? Welcome to the Melanin Mindset episode 2. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness. How are you today, friend?
I'm doing pretty good. Y'all, if you are seeing the title from last week, I'm sorry because now I'm distracted. Last week you had story time. I know I programmed this thing now. It was supposed to say forgiveness. It's time to heal and release. So if you're here and you're viewing us, we're talking about forgiveness. We are not on the friend zone experience, but that will update after this live stream.
Yes. I kind of noticed it when we first went. I was like, title's wrong. You guys know, this episode 2, we working out kinks. I think we're doing okay. I think we should give ourselves a round of applause for the efforts that we've put forth so far. Yes. We are doing okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's week is off to a great start. Today's topic came about, I'm sorry. Go ahead, friend.
I'm sorry. Friend, do you see my name? Everything is off today.
Okay, go ahead, switch that up.
Bear with me just briefly. All right, so go ahead, friend. Kick it off.
Okay. So today, Nappy Dreamer and Kia Blaine, not Kia Blaine and Kia Blaine, we're going to talk about forgiveness and healing and how important it is to forgive and what does true forgiveness really look like. This topic came about with, of course, anything else, us talking about forgiveness and it being forced upon you and what does it look like and how you going to tell me when to get over something. So we just kind of want to converse about this and talk about forgiveness and offenses and trust and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's so true. Like she said, all of our conversations come up the same way. We're sitting, we're talking, we think it would be good to discuss with you all, so we do. So yeah, it's the first thing we really do want to point out though, friend. I want to point out what forgiveness even means.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. So when we talk about forgiveness, we're defining this conversation. Some people might say it looks different, but for the sake of this conversation we're having today, forgiveness means that you are no longer angry. So to stop feeling angry towards someone or something that has been wrong towards you and to stop blaming them. Like to stop saying, oh, like this is this way because, and the blame would be to hold somebody responsible for. So it affecting you in a way that now you're saying, oh, I feel this way because this person did whatever.
Right. And granted, even though we have the definitions here on the screen for you all to see, forgiveness does not look the same for everyone. I'm a person that I can forgive you and walk off, and I mean, you will never see me again. So I'm one of those, but then there's some people who they'll forgive you, but then also feel like, you know what, I sincerely forgave. Let me still be around them or include them or something like that. The unforgivable to you, they may forgive and then move on building in their own life, in their own respective, ways that they and if you can forgive and leave though. That's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a strong believer in that. Now I am somebody who I don't hold grudges and I get over stuff really quick, but I also understand people who don't and how it looks different for other people. So that is one thing. Another thing about forgiveness is like sometimes you can forgive somebody but it still hurts. So like when do you decide that I'm done with this, I've forgiven this perfect person and I can move on? And like how long does that take? Do you think that certain offenses take longer to heal from than others? Like you could say, okay,
scale. Is there like an unspoken scale that we offenses on? So
yeah, go ahead.
if you're a person who has to really think through things, that's acceptable. You don't have to forgive someone in a certain time frame because of what the general expectation might be. Like, really look at it, like, weigh it out. And like I was sharing with my friend here, I told her, I said, dude, as I was getting into this topic and really digging, it plagued my brain. It was like,
Yeah.
how are we ranking what we can and can't forgive? Like, how do we sit it on a scale? How do rate from top to bottom? Like, give an example. Uh,
Let's start with something a little light. Not really light, but let's just say somebody said something to you
mhm.
that you took offense to. Like, how how quickly, or sometimes somebody might say something to you and you be like, oh no you didn't, but sometimes it doesn't take you necessarily as long to forgive somebody for something they might have said out of turn versus, let's
So,
say, somebody stole from you.
yeah.
You know?
It's audible or action. Like, is it
Yeah.
audible or is it action? Like, did you just simply say something that hurt my feelings or bothered me? Thank you so much for the comment. So either you said something that, hurt my feelings or bothered me, made me feel uneasy, right?
Yes.
Versus you went in my bag and took my money.
That part.
Yeah. So
That part.
how do we rank the level at which we begin to forgive?
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I feel like some people, of course we're all different. So sometimes I've seen people get over stuff that and we've all said this, girl, you better than me.
I said that
Because
recently. What you mean?
exactly, because like, oh yeah, I know a recent situation you definitely, but just to infidelity sometimes.
Mm,
People Some people will be like, it's over, it's done, it's a wrap. Don't speak to me, don't look my way. And then others can forgive and work through that, but I'm pretty sure that's hard and it's a process, you
yeah.
know?
Whole fact, whole fact. But then too, with that whole situation with the if it were me, I would have. How do
Mm-hmm.
you know what you would have? I literally just had this conversation with my husband the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
it was over a story that was shared on social media. A young lady's son drowned but survived, and recently he passed away. Okay, so
Wow.
she shares the story of how that day took place. And she's saying so many people got on her and they were just like, if it was me, I would have did this. You wouldn't have let my baby
Yes.
in my water.
Yes.
No, 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 no. She said there is nothing that you can do to prepare for those situations. These are not drills. We don't live our lives like drills. So how can you say if it were me, I wouldn't have forgave them? You don't know what you would have done because you're not
Yeah.
there.
I feel like we all, in some aspect, do that. Like when you see certain things, hear certain things in your head, you be like, "Oh heck no, I would have did da 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 da." But I feel like you're very bold to go to that person to their face and tell them, "If that was me, I would have such and such." Like, how do you tell me how I should react to something?
Mm.
And then, like, I'm gonna give an example. This one was a little touchy. I can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was the guy where the cop had broke in and shot him when he was eating ice cream or something like that.
Oh, yes, that was
And then at the case, the family member hugged them. Like, you
yeah,
you
and he
killed my
said
family
he
member in
forgave.
their house in cold blood,
Friend,
and
he forgave.
I forgave. I ain't about to hug you and cool. I might have forgave you, but I
And
just
see
think
that,
that,
but that's the thing though. Like what we're talking about tonight, we're talking about healing and releasing. That man forgave, he healed,
mm,
and he released. A lot of people
mm,
can't relate to it. We just can't.
mm,
Like a lot of
mm,
people cannot relate to that
mm,
level
mm.
of
Not
forgiveness,
that level. I ain't
actual
there yet. I
forgiveness.
guess I got some leveling up to do. Because I can't say that I'm that strong that if I know, or even if I feel, because sometimes it's situations where you don't know that the person was actually being intentionally malicious.
Right.
But how do you process that?
Yeah. Understanding for sure. Trying
Yeah.
to understand for sure. And
Yes.
that's hard. But here's the deal though, with processing it and understanding how you can start moving toward forgiveness. Do I have to forget though? That's the real thing. For me, it's like to forgive, I don't have to forget because
Yeah.
it just because I forgave doesn't mean I don't remember what happened. Because the minute you start to forget these things, you walk into the same traps. So you walk into
Yeah.
the same situations, the same issues. Do you all out there viewing? By the way, thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you are viewing us on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Please don't forget if you're watching us on Facebook or wherever you may be seeing us from, please hit that share and let others know that we have already started our live and we are getting into our conversation. Tonight's conversation is forgiveness. It's time to heal and release, fam.
Yes. So I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on what I'm forgiving you for.
Mm-hmm. And that comes at
Because
the
and
level.
then but I no, back to what you were saying, you were like forgetting. I don't think you should ever forget anything that happens to us, whether it be failure, experience, triumph, victory. Like, you have to remember, because that's the only way you grow. If you forget, then you'll end up in the same cycle, doing the same thing again, allowing the same people to hurt you in a way or do whatever they want. So you definitely want to remember, like, you can't forget. So I guess you have to somehow separate that feeling of forgiving does not mean I'm gonna ignore what happened or I'm gonna forget what happened, you know? And you were saying like understanding. So you said something about understanding. So let me ask you this. Do I have to understand why you did what you did to why you did what you did in order to forgive you?
Ooh, that's deep. I don't know that it's even possible to always understand because we sometimes do stuff we don't even know why we did it. So
Mm,
having to be able to understand in order to forgive sets you up for failure almost like automatically. Because
yeah.
what if the offender is intentional? And what if the offender could care less? And what if the offender is not willing to even see another side of your story? For example, kids nowadays can be cutthroat, friend. Kids is
Very
cutthroat.
much.
Now,
Very
when
much
we
so.
were growing up, kids was cutthroat, but nowadays they come for the jugular. Okay, they cut deep
No, they
nowadays.
have no chill.
What about imagine saying this to a young lady, like a young teen girl? She's trying to explain it to her. You need to understand why your offender offended you when your offender's sincerely nasty and they
Yeah.
hurt you on purpose. And if they
But
find
we do, but we do that sometimes too. We do that sometimes in trying to help somebody heal. We'll be like, but you gotta understand where they're coming from. But no, I don't. I
you
don't want to.
can't always understand where anyone's coming from. That's not a realistic expectation to set for someone when it comes to forgiveness. So if
Mm,
you're trying, yeah, it's not that's not realistic. But understanding could help because, like we spoke about before, relating to the offense can occasionally be a little soothing in the process of forgiving.
yeah,
So I think we should ask the people viewing us, like we got a few people in with us right now. Take to the chat and let us know. Do you feel like you have to know why the offender did what they did in order to forgive them? Do you feel like if you can relate to the thing that they offended you or the reason they offended you or the thing that they did that was offensive, period, right? Is it easier to forgive them? So go ahead and let us know in the chat if you think so. All right. If you think so, let us know down in the chat. We got a quick no.
yeah,
We got a quick no.
yeah,
No. Simply put, no.
yeah. So, and then also too, like, does my what? Wait, what did you just say? Yeah. So, do I have to? Do I have to earn an apology? Let's say somebody, let's say a family member, um, broke something that was precious to me and act like they didn't care about it. Like, am I gonna be upset or not forgive them until they apologize? Like, do I need that physical? I need to hear you tell me I'm sorry before I can accept or start to process forgiveness. Because even though sometimes people will say sorry right away and you still not ready to forgive, but do you feel like that's something that is contingent upon me forgiving? I know for me, not necessarily, because just like we were saying a little back, I can come to the conclusion that I've forgiven you and I don't have to deal with you no more. So whether you say sorry or not, I'm not going to allow what you did to me mess up my energy and my blessings and my focus and all of that. So, but some people, like, do you feel like you need to say sorry for what you did?
Do I feel like they need to say sorry to me?
Yes.
That comes back up like before. It's that, as far as forgiveness for me personally, I would love to hear you say sorry. If you came and I got a sincere, I apologize. And if you sprinkled that zesty sauce on top, that includes explaining to me why the devil you did what you did, then yes,
Yeah.
it makes forgiving for me a little bit easier. But is my forgiveness contingent upon that? No.
Mm-hmm.
My forgiveness is not contingent upon whether or not you audibly apologize or whether or not you explain to me why you did what you did. So,
Okay.
but I can say it aids in the process.
It might help the process.
Yeah,
It'll ease it up a little bit. It'll help the process along
right. It
of
helps.
me
It
forgiving.
definitely helps. Especially if you can know, like I was saying before, think about it. If you can relate to it, like if you've been there or if you've done that, then yeah, you could definitely find yourself in a position where you are more willing to forgive. We've got something down here. The way someone apologizes to me helps me move forward with forgiveness. Jasmine,
Yes. Just
I
like you said, that little zest, that little sprinkle of zest with the
oh,
explanation and why. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, but mm, with the apology, let's say the person doesn't apologize.
mm,
Like they feel like whatever they offended you or what they did to you was justified in some way. But you're still offended about it. You're still very much offended by it.
when we were going over that before, that concern regarding the you won't apologize or you won't admit what you did or you won't, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Bend or break when it comes to it. Like, do I feel like I would still? Ugh, it's about me at that point because
Yeah.
I'm going to grant you that forgiveness and you are stubborn and you are not willing to try to mend this relationship. Because I saw a quote. Hold on, let me find it because I found a quote and the quote said something like forgiveness is saying that the issue is smaller than the love you have for the person who offended you.
Okay.
So it put it in a perspective where it's like if you forgive in spite of, that means that your caring or compassion or your love or relationship to that person was more important to you than the grudge that you were holding. I gotta find it, but that's basically what it was saying.
Yeah. So I remember. I don't know if you remember the Kim Kimball show.
Hmm.
Where it was like it was a following them in the salon, and she's a celebrity hairstylist. So
Yep.
there was an episode. Her mom, I think, used to be a substance abuser, and so of course, with a parent who's a substance abuser, there's a lot of hurt and things going on as you grow up. But I remember the mom saying, like, in her treatment, during her treatment and her recovery, one of the things the counselor or therapist, or I don't know what they call them, I'm probably saying it wrong, but one of the things that they told them is like, you do not have to apologize because during the time, you were functioning outside of whatever, under the influence of, I don't know why this hair is bugging me.
Let me see you put mine to the back. I had to get it.
You are
I had to
you
get
are
it up on my headset. While I
I'm over
was
here like, why is that hair being rude?
now.
Sorry, I digress.
Please digress. Kim Kimball's
But they were basically, she was basically saying like, I can't change what happened, and I can't, rewind time and fix it. This is where I'm at now. I love you here now in this present, but I can't go back and like, I can't repeatedly apologize. And I think that happens too sometimes especially within families. If I was an alcoholic and my kids continually tell me like, mom, like you 50 years old still talking about what happened to you when you was a kid because your mama was on this. It's like at a certain point I could say I'm sorry, but I have to let it go. I'm not going to continue to apologize. If you've forgiven somebody, do you stop like bringing it up anytime something remotely looks close to that offense? Especially in a family, because if we're husband and wife, or brother and sister, mother, daughter, people that we're around closely, when something happens and you're hurt by it, even if you say, okay, I've forgiven her, I let it go, anytime anything remotely looks similar to that offense, your spidey senses start tingling and you get on the